in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Family Promise of York County in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Pathways Community Center in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Feed the Hungry in the amount of $2,250.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Max Abilities in the amount of $1,750.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Safe Passage in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Bethel Shelters in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to the Lifehouse in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Six to Catawba Area Coalition for the Homeless in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Committee to rescind District Seven's allocation of funds to the Church of Christ Basket of Blessings for failure to comply with requirements.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Seven to York County 4-H in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District Seven to Safe Passage in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Tommy, just so you don't feel left out, I'll let you do this next.
Committee to consider allocations for District Seven Keystone for the amount of $1,000.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I followed up the discussions regarding local vendor preference.
All right. All right. I don't know if you wanna go ahead and turn it over on that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I thought you was gonna give out breath anyway.
Mhm.
So, we've given y'all some ideas last time, you all were gonna review those and
Mhm.
discuss those today and hopefully come out here with a recommendation. If y'all had a chance to review everything since the last meeting?
Yeah.
Bob's got it, I know he's had this.
So who do you want to start off? Tommy or Bump?
I'm good.
Actually,
Mhm.
had an opportunity to make some adjustments,
Okay.
some modifications to the ordinance. It's been properly vetted with legal
Okay.
as well. The major differences that I believe the council requested a preference in terms of percentages.
Mm-hmm.
So we've included that in the ordinance.
Yes.
And also the threshold has changed to $25 million
Okay.
as the maximum limit as opposed to the $750,000 that was proposed in the initial
Okay.
ordinance.
We talked about that last time, and then this is, you know, when you get up to 25 million and above,
Yeah.
we just wanna make sure we're getting the best bang for buck on that and don't lose any potential bidders on a project of that magnitude.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think in the last referendum we had a project bigger than that, a single project, but it might come up.
Yeah. So, so my changes were getting the percentages down. So
Yes,
what
sir.
was what did we change that to? Based
The
on,
percentages are up to 5%, and that should be located on the third page. Correction, on the fourth page, there's a percentage breakdown.
Mhm. Okay, okay. That's what I wanted to see. So it's up to 100,000 on the 5%, 3% okay, that makes sense. No, it looks good.
And this was, you know, what Tiers does
Yeah.
incorporate everything you were given last time in ordinance over here, but, you know, if y'all are fine with this allocation,
Mm-hmm.
y'all can vote on it to take
Mhm.
it to council as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
or if y'all wanna discuss and tweak something, now's your chance to do that before you vote on
Yeah,
it.
let me look at,
And I'm I'm
So-
happy to send a draft, it's draft.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
If you want
Alright,
another
so-
month to look at it.
Getting at the 1% on the supply. You said a maximum dollar amount being 25,000. Just kind of explain that.
Million.
Oh, shoot. Gotcha.
Yeah, right. So if you wanna, yeah,
Okay.
That
got
might
it.
help
Okay.
explain.
And
Yeah.
one of the other major changes to
Right.
this ordinance, this applies only to the local threshold
Right.
of 50,000 and above for formal solicitation.
Okay. So while you guys are pawing over it, the other thing I had was that if we can make sure as we go out with this, is how do we, continue to market our projects out to the local bidders so they actually know there's something available. So that's kind of a tricky thing, and I know that, but I'm just interested in hearing the
I mean, I think
conversation.
You've seen some of the stuff we're trying to do now with
Mhm.
small business. you
Yeah.
know, Presenting, talking to those groups. You know, when we have bigger projects come up, I can promise you every local construction bidder knows about those projects. But we have, I'm not saying we thought of every possible idea, but anytime we think of something, we've tried to explore that. And we do have a database that's got how many vendors in it, Tira?
Oh, it has, we've migrated over, so,
So that's the distribution list that goes out when we're bidding something out.
Yeah.
Correct, and everybody
So
gets
there is-
notification.
So everybody gets notification.
But
on
to
it.
that
actually, we have a e-procurement system. We also
Okay.
provide that information on the county's website.
Yeah.
As well as send it through the, South Carolina Business Opportunities. So it's
Okay.
posted in three.
Three different, and they're notified
Yes.
about it.
But the
Yes.
ordinance does two things.
Okay.
It requires that the local vendor preference be included with all solicitations that go out. So all
Okay.
requests for bids and solicitations will have a notice on there. It also,
Yes, okay.
directs at the discretion of the, I'm gonna get this wrong, procurement director, Tira, is that, the title? To establish a database of those vendors that are local that wanna
Right.
participate.
Yeah.
Because you could see conceivably, if I do my profit margins, I might not wanna give you the local preference, I might wanna be the low bidder. I might not be able to reduce
Yeah.
my bid by $5,000
Right.
or whatever the number
Right.
may be. So they have to opt in.
Yeah.
So if they wanna opt in, she can create a database that says, here are all the local vendors that wanna participate.
Okay.
Even the ability
So-
to match that low price is not mandatory for
Correct.
everything.
Yeah, so my follow-up question to that is that how are we, making this database accessible? So how would what is the step for them to get on the list? I guess that's a short way to
On
ask.
the vendor list.
On the vendor list? Yeah,
We had a campaign approximately a year or so ago now,
Mhm.
with the vendors. We notified them that we were migrating to the e-procurement system.
okay,
We still maintain, the county's old website, with information on it and provide that information to the vendors as well. Of course, it's becoming antiquated the further we get
Sure.
into the new, system.
right.
So those are the notification, procedures that we have.
As well
Now,
as the
in
posting
order
and
to, receive notification, the vendor has to request that they'd like to be notified.
Right, so so would they then so if I know of people, or we all have like companies in the area that may not be on the list, how would they get on it? Just contact the county? What is the
That
step?
information is available on the county's website, and it
Okay.
will refer them to the county's e-procurement system, which is the Get On portal, but that
Gotcha.
information is available on the
Okay.
county's
And
website.
Tom, you can sign up for, let's say, the conference we went to a month or so ago.
Mhm.
There were some people there that did pallets, there's somebody else that did cleaning services.
Right.
You can sign up for what you wanna receive, because you don't wanna get everything, just for
Right.
what you wanna do.
Right,
That feature's in there where you can sign up to receive notification or not to. But most vendors will go out there and they'll pick what they do, and they'll sign up for a notification for those bids going out.
and can we somehow market that a little bit? Because the reason I'm saying this is I've got people that because people have come to me that have local businesses, and they're not on the list, and they have like, I don't know where to go, and I'm like, okay, well, this, I would reach out, but if there's any way we could market it, or maybe like do a
I mean, I think we can work with,
Yeah, but that's true about a lot of stuff, David.
Well,
You
I'm
wouldn't
just-
believe how many people don't even know York County even got it there.
well, I know, Tommy, but we gotta, like, this is,
Yeah.
we need to address what
I
the
mean, I
ask
think
is.
when the local vendor preference, when council passes that, and again, I won't speak on behalf of the county manager, but I would imagine there's gonna be a push with the PIO's office to get that information out over there. And
Right.
remind everybody, go to the county's website and sign up. Our website's not that complicated to figure out as a vendor. We're setting up. But, you know, once we get this behind us, I think that's the push to have the PIO's office put it out there for everybody. But, you know, as we've talked about before, you can do Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, every other way, short of knocking on people's doors, and there'll still be somebody that says, well, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
well,
we
what-
might have done.
yeah, what do we
really
can-
try to do as much as we can.
Right, do,
But I think a good time to go out there and to continue the next push would be once council, you know, if council passes it, which I
Yeah.
suspect y'all will, then that's a nice impetus to go out there and do another marketing blitz with the PIO's
Agreed.
office in there.
agreed, and maybe we put it on the small business toolkit as another link, you know, for people to look at, so,
I think
okay.
it's critical
And
to
we have the
understand.
ability to push that information out to the
Okay.
vendors that are already registered in the database so that they are aware of
Okay.
this local vendor preference.
Okay, good, that's a good point.
I wanna point this out. So, looking at the breakdown of the 5%, the 3-to-1, the 2-to-1, just doing the math on this, even at $1 million, at the 5%, that's only $50,000. It's probably easier to cut out or be able to match something and take $50,000 less on $1 million project than it would be to cut out a bigger percentage on something under $100,000.
Yeah, see, the 100,000, if you're within 5% or $5,000.
That's a real tight, that's a real
Still
tight.
5% when you
Yeah.
get the project.
Yeah.
And most of these vendors, you know, your profit margins on projects, as you get into bigger projects, the profit
got a little more
margins get
profit
tight.
margin.
Well, the margins, the dollar amount might get bigger, but the margins get tighter as you're on the bigger projects over here.
And say for the maximum of $225 million, that's at 1%, that's $250,000 difference.
I can agree with that bottom one being 1%, but when you, it should be, I think we would create a bigger, I think it'll be, cause just with the local preference, just with this, I see probably more competition from our local guys from $50,000 to $1 million project. Cause obviously when you get to some 25 million or $20 million projects, I don't know how many local companies we got that's gonna be competing on that level. You probably get more people competing on that lower to moderate,
It's gonna be
Between-
more.
in that
So-
lower bracket. So
Right.
we're not,
So
we're
you-
not, if we're cutting off at 3%, I would say 50 to $1 million. Because I about see that's and you can speak, you probably can attest to how many projects have gone out from 50,000 to $1 million that you probably seen local trying to compete for, whether they got it or not. What's your past experience of when you get up above $1 million, $2, $5, $10 million? They start dropping off on a local level.
Yes.
So if we got it like that from only 50 to 100, we're not really creating a big enough window for our local guys to really be able to take advantage of some of the opportunities, but from 50,000 to $1 million, that's a bigger span, probably can include some more of our local vendors being able to compete, but you gotta remember, they still have to match whatever that lowest bid is gonna be. So we don't lose nothing by creating that gap, creating that 50 to $1 million, even at the 5%. Because if it's $1 million project, that local guy still has to do it at whatever that price is gonna be within that 5%.
So if I hear you correct, you're getting around the motion to make it 50 to $1 million, 5%.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure.
Well, I mean, that's sort of why we provide this information for y'all to
Yeah.
talk about it as a committee and come out with your recommendation. This doesn't have to be tonight. Sometimes I think sleeping on stuff and thinking about it, now you've got a complete draft of the ordinance.
Yeah, the only thing, and I hear what you're saying on that bump, I guess my only, I don't know, when I look at this, because there's going to be, a segment of businesses that probably won't even do anything above $100,000 project, right? And but there's going to be a lot that, you know, I mean, as we get higher, we're gonna start shrinking that pool down, right? So, I mean, $50,000 difference on a million, that's a pretty big chunk of change.
50, if I had $1 million, gave you 50,000, I ain't really giving you much out of that million.
Well, but that's still like, that's 50,000 tax dollars.
Cause what you don't wanna do
No,
is
but
have the,
we're not giving them, they still gotta perform the work. I still have to perform the work at Tommy's price if I was within 5% of his bid.
But on $1 million, we're saying, you know, a 950,000, I mean, it's $50,000 difference. That's a pretty big chunk as opposed to 300,000. I'm just saying from a tax purposes perspective, again, we don't have to pass this tonight. We can chew on this, but
Well, we definitely got 3 major dirt work outfits that can get well up into the millions. And then we're surrounded by 3 more.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
if y'all wanna just chew on this as you put it to
Tom-
the next meeting.
yeah, let's chew, like, you guys wanna chew on this a little bit more, we can bring it to the next meeting.
Let me make this
Yeah.
point. When you're saying taxpayer dollars, we're not giving.
No,
taxpayer dollars.
but that's,
They still have to perform that work.
Yeah.
That lowest bid, if they're within that range. And
Yeah.
I would like to,
Well-
I think it'd be a better understanding, if you put an example on here, to say, hey,
There is an example.
oh no. well,
What I think you tried to say,
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
is we're gonna cover more of a pool of our local people in this lower range and give more opportunities to our local.
we
yeah,
gotta
so.
widen that range.
Yeah, but again, it's 200, I know that they're not paying if it's 200,000 less the tax, but let's just think about it and we'll bring it back to the next meeting, if you guys are good with that.
Think about it.
All right, financial update, Kevin. Thank you,
I'm going to be
appreciate it.
changing the form y'all are getting. In the past, Mr. Seeger wrote a report, that matched one of the reports of the financials, a bit complicated. I'm gonna try to focus on the general fund operations and give you a report right on financials, software that's gonna be hopefully more useful for y'all. And I'll try to have that at the next meeting.
Hang on. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds very good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. There's no executive session. There's no matters to consider from executive session. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Good job.
Ayes have it.
This was.